week's episode of Just Chris Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Carter. We're on episode 26, and for this week's episode, we have a guest on the podcast. You know, he's an up-and-coming podcaster. He's working on a mixtape. He's grinding every day in the gym. What is he not doing? To be honest with you, Jonathan Barrett, I would consider him an incredible friend of mine, a mentor, a great leader in all aspects, and honestly, the go-to man for everything. So before we start that out, I just want to give a little shout out to him. Sat down on a Tuesday night, worked it out, and I'm stoked that he's on. So guys, enjoy this week's episode. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast, rate and review it if you're listening on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcast, Radio Public, Castbox, any of those. And if you're watching this on YouTube, shout out to the watchers, to the viewers. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the like while you're at it. Guys, enjoy this episode. It was awesome getting the opportunity to sit down with him. All right, JB, what's up, dude? I am stoked that you're on the podcast. How are you doing today?
What's up, my dog? I'm doing well, bro.
Dude, that's awesome to hear. JB, we've known each other, it feels like we've known each other for like years now, but I was thinking about it as we were setting up for the podcast, and I was like, actually, like, we only knew each other for 1 year at DNE, which is crazy. Isn't that wild?
It is crazy.
But while we were at DNE, I definitely considered you as, my go-to guy, definitely a mentor. I came to you for multiple things, such as when I was writing bylaws for IFC, any advice when it came to being an RA. You were the man, definitely the go-to guy on DNE's campus.
Hey, well, I appreciate it. That means the world to me just because, like, hey, you're Chris Carter, you're the man. I got there, they're like, hey, yo, Chris Carter, right? And like, that means a lot to me because, like, again, that's what I'm there for. I'm one of the younger guys that was on campus. So it was, like, awesome to, like, help out and to, like, tap in with the man on campus, Chris Carter.
Hey, if that's what you want to go with, I'll take it.
You were, bro.
You kind of want to introduce yourself, who you are exactly, where you're from, what you're doing right now.
Yeah, bro. So John Barrett, from Richmond, Virginia originally. Lived in West Virginia for a few years, worked in higher education, higher ed professional. Worked on student affairs, multicultural, diversity and inclusion, human resource officer in the Virginia National Guard. Been in it for almost 9 years, I'm doing that and, in the cyber unit. So, yeah, pretty diverse palette, and just looking to, like, help as many people as I can.
Yeah, and you've been doing an awesome job. I was looking through your LinkedIn the other day just so I could kind of get more of a background. I was like, dang, JB's kind of done it all, especially at Wheeling Jesuit. Is that correct?
Yeah, bro, Wheeling Jesuit, man. And, like there, I started off there as like a wrestler, Division II. 6 years later, as a coach, we ended up taking number 2 in the nation. Wow. Crazy, right? And
that is crazy.
So, like, super grateful for the opportunity, man, because a lot of people don't have that opportunity. So, got to DNE, and they're on their way. DNE's wrestling team is pretty good. They'll be on their way to top 10, top 15 here pretty soon.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. They're definitely on the come up. They definitely bring in a lot of talent, and it seems like a lot out of New Jersey.
A lot of New Jersey. The head coach, he's from New Jersey, bro. And like I said, he's just so experienced. Like, he gets it. He understands how to manage people because that's a business. That's a business. It's about managing people. They know how to wrestle if they come to college already,
Yeah, most definitely. So it's been a while since we've talked last. I mean, it's text responding here and there, Snapchats here and there, but what's new? What's going on right now in the life of JB?
Yeah, bro. First of all, like, I'm grateful, like, you reached out to me, man. Like anytime, like, students reach out to me to ask me anything, bro, it means a lot to me, for real, man. Because it shows that, like, not only I made an impression, but, they're trying to figure things out. And, like, high performance asks clarifying questions. And I know you're a high performer, Chris Carter. Right?
I appreciate that.
I remember you walked into my office and you're like, hey, yo, like, can we do these bylaws? And then you pull out your laptop right there. I was like, oh, this kid different. He's willing to, like, do the work right now, man. And so that was always something that, like, stuck out about you. And then the biggest thing was when you won, like, at bingo some gift cards, and then you went over to the bookstore and bought all the blue books and sold them at an upcharge.
Oh my gosh, dude. I'm going to be honest. Like, that was probably one of the best business decisions I made in school. And I wish it would have gone, like, as well as it did in my head, because $25 gift card gotten for free as it was for bingo, or it was for like the Christmas gift or something.
Yeah, bro.
And I was like, I'm going to figure out a way to finesse the system. So went to the bookstore. I bought what I thought was all of the blue books. and it was finals week that week, and I was like, you know what, like they sell them 10 cents in the store, I'm selling them 25 cents last minute for all the kids walking to class. So I buy out the whole stack, and the lady goes, all right, just go to the back and get more stacks out from other people. And that's when it hit me. I was like, no way.
Yeah.
my business plan is down the drain.
Dang. But you still sold them, right? You still sold them.
Oh, I definitely sold some. And then I sold them. So I sold them a quarter each. And then I think 5 for $1. But with people like in a rush, getting to class or whatever, like they just throw me $1, throw me 50 cents for one. So I definitely made a pretty big profit. I didn't sell all of them, but the stuff that I did sell, pretty good return on investment there.
Especially if you're like $0, bro. That's awesome. Yeah. So
I know
when that happened, I was like, this kid gets it. Like no one could get mad about that. Like no one at Student Affairs was like, oh man, Chris Carter is at it again. It was like, oh man, like I wish I would have thought of that. So
honestly, yeah.
I was like, this kid gets it. But yeah, to your question, man. Like you said, like so you're doing some full time military work. We do. I'm in a cyber unit. Down in the DMV area doing some military stuff. I'm a lieutenant. Been in for like 9 years, bro, and super impactful on my life, man. Done a lot for me, so definitely blessed. And that's what I'm currently doing, bro.
Okay, and what got you interested in wanting to join that?
So I went to a military high school. A lot of people don't know.
Really?
Yeah, bro. A lot of people don't know that.
I didn't know that.
Because my temperament, I'm such a chill dude, but like I don't know. Everyone you say military school, people assume like you have like problems. I don't think I was a problem child, but I definitely had a phase of where I wanted to fit in. I'm from inner city Richmond, South Side, so there's not much you can do but get into stuff you shouldn't be doing.
Right.
So I didn't get in trouble a lot, but when I did, my mom resolved it quickly. So long story short, went to a military school. Super good decision. I was like, I don't want to do this full time when I graduate, but I could see doing it part time. So I went to college. I wanted to wrestle. Ended up joining ROTC at BMI, bro. And I did that, and I enlisted because I was trying to get ROTC, like the one of their enlisted guard scholarships. Ended up transferring to Willing Jesuit, and I just stayed enlisted, bro.
Okay.
All the way up to specialist, and then I went over to OCS. And I did OCS when I was like about 5 years in, and then commissioned as a second lieutenant, bro. So yeah, it's been a journey, man. It's been a journey.
Yeah, it sounds like you said 9 years.
9 years, bro. 9 years in November.
Okay. Yeah. What would you say? I'm gonna put you on the spot here. What would you say is like the biggest thing you've learned while being in the National Guard? Like, what's what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, bro. Yeah.
Like your most valuable lesson, I guess.
I feel like things are earned, not given. Like the military, like is very merit based in a sense of like, hey, these high performers, like that'll get you so far. But I also am understanding now there's a political aspect of it. But earn not given, man. Like when I wanted to go to OCS, man, like it was so much extra stuff that like you really got to want to be there, And to give you a paint a picture for everyone listening of like what that actually looks like. When I got to OCS, I was like 2 months before shipping. I was prior service, so I was able to like show up. 33 people. By the time I came back, 3 graduated from traditional class, and I had 6. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So like, you gotta be competitive. You gotta want it. I think most of it is mental, but you gotta want it. But life happens. Especially if you have like kids and stuff like that. I was just blessed in like I was like younger, so then I have a family that came in between that goal time, bro.
Right. And what type of characteristics do you think that you and the 5 other individuals had that allowed you to stand out above the remaining, what's that, 20,
yeah,
26, 27?
Yeah, bro. I think all of us, honestly, we prepared prior to, physically, because, like when you're going to do something like that, you just got to understand they're not going to kill you. It's going to suck, but they're not going to kill you, So just having like good, healthy habits up until there so you prepare. And I think like I said, like high performers have certain traits, like you ask clarifying questions, so if you don't understand it, something you're going to figure it out, and just having that like that researchability, that ability that you want to like figure things out, you're out there, you don't have a phone or anything, but you're trying to figure it out, and what that looks like, for example, so we do land navigation. Land navigation, you got to find points in the woods. You go from dark to light, right? So they drop you there like at 2 a.m. and you got to find points. So for me, I was like, honestly, I was like, I'm not the best at like going straight on following an azimuth, like a line. I'm not the best at that
Hmm.
because you naturally drift. So, you just try to like figure it out. So I was like, I found all my points that were closer to the edge of the perimeter, and that I got those points first, you know. And you're
Okay.
just trying to constantly like innovate and like find plans like that. So I knew, hey, if I'm not good at like azimuth during the day, I'm definitely not gonna be good at it during night, you know. So that was kind of like the way I was able to like figure it out, But just trying to figure it out. And I see that in you, bro.
I
I see
appreciate
that in you,
that.
bro. Definitely.
So how was it trying to figure it out at night?
Bro, it was something, man. But you just got to get really good at what your strengths. Like, so my strength was like, all right, well, if I'm not really good at like out there, like some guys would be out there, they would start. Oh, well, this is my first point. They'll run to their first point because they just good like that, and then they'll find their second point. So for me, I had to like actually sit there for like an hour, like find all my points on the map, and then make my path.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess, but I said some guys would just take off running, and
That's crazy.
yeah, but some people are really, really good. But that's experience, and I wasn't the most experienced, so just take my time, figure it out, and then see what points I can get first.
Yeah. And what do you think, what kind of stuff do you think is stuck with you, from OCS to now? Is there anything like specific that maybe like you learned then that you still continue to do?
Yeah, concept, especially in leadership, because that all that stuff kind of grooms you for leadership. Because when leadership fails, soldiers suffer, and that's just like something they like grind into our minds, bro. Because like it's real, and I'll give you an example. I showed up to OCS the first night, and it's a weekend. We get there and we have barracks we sleep in, kind of like dormitories, and
Uh-huh.
we got there and everyone's like outside, just like kind of like angry, and we're like, "Hey, what's going on?" They're like, "Oh, we don't have the barracks tonight." I was like, "Okay, cool. You can sleep in our cars, like cool." But it turns out our leadership for that like class didn't book our barracks that night, so we slept outside
No
in
way.
our we have like sleep systems that we
Uh-huh.
had to camp that night, But it was the best example I could. When leadership fails, soldiers suffer, and
Yeah.
as a leader, you don't want to ever be in that position, So say you're a commander or something like that, and you like you're going out for a weekend or something like that, and your soldiers don't have porta potties or something like that. They're gonna suffer a little
Hmm.
bit. So
Yeah, man, that's crazy. That's super good example. On your first night too.
first night, bro, I was like, oh, this is different. I even tell you about
Yeah,
the people
really.
that were quitting the first morning when I got there. Yeah, I
Really?
think
No
I think they
way.
make them come back the next month when we come back and ring the bell in front of us to like freak us out. But I was like, we just started.
Okay.
I was like, we just got here. How they're quitting? There's a bell you ring to like admit like that you quit. And I'm like,
Oh.
yeah, bro. I was like, oh, this is different. I don't know. I'm ready to go home, bro. But I'm blessed to be able to like, got through it, bro.
Yeah, definitely. So lately, we're now slowly beginning to come out of quarantine. We spent the last year and a couple months, whatever, sitting inside. How have you spent your time inside? Because I know you've been doing some stuff which we'll hit on later.
Yeah, bro.
I'm definitely excited to bring that up. What else have you been doing to kind of consume your time outside of maybe work or any other things going on?
Bro, I probably like worked out the most, bro. To be honest, I got shredded last summer. Well, I try to get like shredded every summer, but last summer, bro, I did 75 Hard by Andy Frisella. He has a pretty popular podcast called the MFCEO Project, and then now it's called the Real AF. And he has a program, so 75 days straight, right? You drink a gallon of water. You do 2 workouts. One has to be outside, and they have to at least be 45 minutes long. You have to read 10 pages from a book every day, and you have to take a progress picture, right? And
Wow.
those are the
Every
components
day?
every single day, bro. So I finished that last September, bro, and I got pretty shredded. I feel like I could definitely diet regular and then get shredded, but I wanted to go somewhere else mentally for that. So
Hmm.
that's what I did last summer, bro, and that was my fourth try before I got
Okay.
it right, man. And
Wow.
I was doing that D&E. I
Okay.
was
I didn't know
I was
that.
doing that D&E, bro, and like for me, it was just like the out of sight, out of mind thing. So like forgetting to take the progress picture, leaving water in my gallon, and like having 2 jugs and like leaving water in it overnight or something, and then I'm waking up, I'm like, oh man, falling asleep with my book, on top of me, and then I got to reset, bro. So when I messed up like 3 times, bro, I was like, I got to like reevaluate and figure out like what am I doing? What am I unintentionally doing? So yeah, best way to like get that done, though.
What do you think it was that you did differently from the first 3 times as compared to the fourth?
I had to get really intentional, bro. I feel like I wasn't like being specific enough. I thought, oh, I got dieted before. I've done stuff like this before. I don't need to like have an actual gallon. No, and I think that was for me. So like when I had messed up with water before, I had like 3 water bottles and I carried all 3 of them or something. So this time I got a 1, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna really track it. Like reading was the hardest for me because I'm not like a guy who like reads like that. So I had to do it earlier in the day. I couldn't leave it the chance for me to do it like at 10 o'clock on it.
Yeah, that's smart. I wish I could get more into reading, to be honest with you, but I think it's great that 10 pages a day. Did you often overread that, or was it just right on 10?
Not for me, man. It was right on 10, and I probably finished like 3 books, in 75 days, bro. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, bro, and so yeah, it was a man. I got that, and they have to be self-development books, no fiction. I don't like fiction in general, to be honest.
I can't really get into that. A lot of my stuff is like self-development that I dive into.
Because you're the man, bro. You're Chris Carter.
Something like that. Hey, I'll take it. That's awesome. Man, that's crazy. About 75 days. I couldn't imagine.
75 days. And a diet, obviously. Like you're dieting the whole time too, and no cheat meals. Yeah,
really?
Yeah, bro. So that was the biggest thing for me for the diet part. Like no cheat meals at all, man. So I did that last summer, man. But that's predominantly like what I was just like working out, getting shredded, getting ready for some big work events. But yeah, bro. What you do during the quarantine?
I mean, I started the podcast. That's the first thing. When I got home, I couldn't find a job to save my life, to be honest.
Yeah.
And leaving school, college degree, you think it'd be a lot easier than what it is. And I'm getting turned down from grocery stores. I'm getting turned down from like Lowe's Hardware, all like you name it. Like I probably applied for it. And so outside of that, I spent a ton of time fishing.
Yeah.
So once I finished up with like my senior thesis, like I'd hit the pond every day, and I did that. And then, started the podcast. And then I finally got a job working at the golf course, making $7.50 an hour parking golf carts. And then slowly, like that evolved over time. I got paid more. I transitioned from the golf carts down to working maintenance as a greenskeeper.
Yeah, bro.
And from there, it finally landed a full-time position utilizing my degree.
Bro, that's awesome. And like the thing about it is too, like you figure it out though, and that's the biggest thing. That's just trying to figure it out, constantly trying to figure it out, and I remember one thing my coach told me, like in college. So I switched over. So we got like our own like military insurance called TRICARE. And so I came back from training. I came back. You have to re-enroll, right? I was at first doing the allocation through like my paycheck. So I'm sitting in the office. We obviously we both compete Division II. You need like insurance. You can't be like competing without insurance.
Right.
So my coach is like, yeah, like John, you got insurance, right? I was like, yeah. It's like you're in the military, right? I was like, yeah. And he's like, I was like, I called like 3 times. They never answered. He was like, you just got to sit there, do something else, and like get it done. You got to figure it out. And it stuck with me so much because like, hey, bro, if you just like do that, bro, you're in the game with everything, bro. Like you just showing up, like you're willing to like sit on the phone for 3 hours and get that rebate.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. That's crazy. But yeah, I mean, outside of that, just spend a ton of time trying to focus on the little things and, doing the things that I enjoyed most before I really entered like the workforce. So I got to travel quite a bit, got to see a ton of new stuff. I road tripped halfway across the country with my dad.
Did you really?
So yeah, I did. We drove out to Nebraska for a friend's wedding. Actually, he went to DNE as well.
That's lit.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And originally, I had just bought a plane ticket. I was going to fly out there. And then due to COVID, they had to push back the wedding. So my ticket really wasn't worth anything. And then, they were able to switch it over to the new date. And then I decided, I was like, you know what? I kind of want to drive out there.
Yeah.
And the original plan was I was just going to drive by myself because I love long car rides by myself or with somebody else. Great time to reflect. And then my dad, he was like, yeah, I'll go with you too. So we took the trip. I think we left on a Wednesday. It took us probably about 24 hours and then we made it there and then made it back and stopped twice on the way back.
That's
And
crazy.
then on the way there, we got to camp out. We camped in Missouri. I got to see Kansas City, got to see St. Louis go up on the arch. It was crazy. It was definitely a great experience. And if, I could tell anybody to go road trip, 100% try it. Either by yourself, with friends. I've gone on quite a few cross country, and they're awesome.
Man, and those are memories, like those are things you can't like replace.
Right. Yeah, I think just in school, I went in, when am I, 3 or 4?
Oh my gosh.
A couple to Wyoming, there and back to Wyoming, down to Florida and back. I went from Texas up to Colorado. So just any opportunity I could to travel, I took it.
That's awesome. So, like, are you a camper? Like, you're a big camper guy?
Not that big. I'd like to be more into it. But, if the opportunity presents itself, I definitely would. I mean, I have the gear for it.
Yeah,
I
bro.
just don't set aside the time for it. Yeah,
I like nature a lot. So, like, ideally, like, camping is appealing to me. But then, like, my experiences, like, in the field with the military, bro, I'm like, I'm good.
Much different.
I'm good. Much different, bro.
Yeah.
It's an experience, bro. And so actually one time we were out there in the field, and we have like our ponchos, right? And we make something called hooches, and they're not really tents, but they're meant to break the wind. And you sleep underneath them, kind of like tents though. And you tie the poncho up, so the water won't get into it, right? So I don't know, one of our sides, I don't know if it was mine or his, but it started raining hard, bro, like hard. And then our poncho like started to like getting flooded with water, and then it eventually fell through on us in the middle of the night. Oh my gosh! So I was like, "This is horrible." But
oh wow! When we were in Missouri, we actually, before we went to sleep, we checked the weather and everything. It was looking clear in the morning, and we're like, you know what? We should put on the rain cover just in case. Mm-hmm. Thank gosh we did, because I woke up at I think like 4 or 5 a.m. to a loud crash of thunder. And then torrential downpour. And I had to figure out how I was going to go to the bathroom when it was pouring rain without, getting soaked, which is unavoidable.
Absolutely.
So I had to bite the bullet there. And then it rained probably from like 3 a.m. until like 9:30, 10 o'clock. So we had to pack up all the gear in the rain too.
That's so crazy. I would be livid.
Yeah, it was hard not to be, but like, I was still out there. We had a good time. Something to look back and laugh at.
It is like I said, memories. Like you can't forget those are the people you're doing with, bro. So like I'm big on that now. I'm 27 now, so I wish I would have did more stuff like that. But I'm also excited to like create more.
Right. Yeah, most definitely. Now we talked about you having a position at DNE and how I could always go back to. Do you want to talk more about your position as director of campus activities and multicultural programs?
Yeah, bro. So like, so I was groomed at Willing Jesuit as started off there as a activities coordinator, and I worked for the director, and director reported to like the dean, and then obviously the vice president of like student affairs. And that kind of grew me. Like, I kind of think of that as like the military. That was like my like private first class, like my private stage where you're like, hey, like late at night, late events, stuff like that, And then eventually, before I left there, I became like assistant director, where it's kind of like I'm still in charge of it, but I got the chance to like groom my students to kind of like be able to do it without me if needed be. So D&E, I got the opportunity through just mutual friends, higher education, especially in West Virginia, we all like know each other. So I had met Scott at I met him at a conference, and he met my buddy. My buddy got a new job at WU. So they were looking for someone, and he gave him my, name and number. And it made a lot of sense because you guys need an activities guy. I do activities, right?
Right.
And then you need a multicultural guy who also does, like I'm equal opportunity certified, from the military. So you kind of like, it was like kind of like perfect, like timing, to be honest. The only piece I wasn't super stoked about was res life, because I don't do res life, bro. That's too much in the dorm and stuff. I was like, oh my god,
it's a lot. It's a lot. And you were the RD of one of the buildings.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, so I was an RD as well, man. And but it was a good opportunity because I really for me, I feel like I was kind of groomed well for that position already because I was already like out doing late night events and things like that. So I kind of like understood like the shift work, like if something happened, what to do, stuff like that. But the I would say the best thing about it all was just like leading the students in like my dormitory. I had, obviously had a small one, but
Hmm.
but I think like my leadership style is like kind of like like freedom is earned type of thing. So if you
Right.
earn it, you earn the respect. Like you guys can be autonomous. I know you're gonna make the smart decision.
Yeah, definitely.
You know.
And then how many RAs were under you? Was it four or five?
I have four. I have four, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, bro. So yeah, it
Yeah, I
was chill.
think. Yeah, it sounds cool. You had that dope little apartment on the first floor,
Yeah, bro. The trap house, bro.
the trap house.
Yeah,
There
bro.
you go.
And then you were up at Moyer, right? But you had
I was,
you
yeah,
had hella people.
yeah. We did just on because I was an RA as well, and there were 3, 5, 8 RAs, I
Hmm.
believe. And honestly, like being an RA in Moyer was the best thing ever.
Yeah,
And like when it came time for my applications, I mean, the first year I got lucky getting stuck in Moyer. I wouldn't even say stuck, getting placed in Moyer.
yeah,
And then the second year when I applied, you know how it asks like, what are your building options you'd want to go to? So like Prez, Moyer, Darby. I just did Moyer, and then for option number 2, I did Moyer. Like I wasn't gonna take no for
yeah,
an option.
absolutely. Why you like it so much?
Um, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's much more laid back as compared to the other
Yeah,
dorms. Different vibe to it, and then being on the fraternity hall as well. Uh, and then I dated a girl my sophomore year who was an RA as well, her senior year. So I really got to see like the RA life before I stepped into
yeah,
it. And hearing the stories like from Prez RAs to Moyer RAs to Darby RAs, like Moyer was the place to be,
yeah. I believe
and
that.
Moyer was much more laid back. Sometimes too laid back in some cases where people would be throwing liquor bottles out the window,
Hmm.
and then I'd have to go clean it up at 12:30. Um, Pain in the butt here and there, but I don't know. I just like Moyer so much more.
No, I get that. I think well, I definitely agree. It was probably the chillest place, other than like obviously like mine, but like that's for other reasons, right?
Yeah, yeah, understandable.
But then also they knew I would come down there and like, no, I was kidding. I didn't do anything, but yeah, bro, I get that definitely.
Yeah, how was the transition going from Wheeling Jesuit to DNE? In terms of like the geographic location.
Bro, I loved it honestly because I feel like I love the nature. Like the nature was just so great out there. Obviously, like it was less to do in the town, no. But you had like super nice like small like towny like shops that like were like super like I like that place where they had like the pizza. It was like straight down the hill across the street from Dollar General.
Oh,
CJ Maggie's or like
yes.
bro
Yep, I
that
know
place that
exactly.
place slapped, bro. So I like that place. Obviously like Scotty's and things like that. But
The classic go-tos.
bro, classic, bro. And but other than that, like it was like a huge like change of scenery to nothing to do. But granted, I was like busy all the time, so it didn't really impact me like that. Um,
Right.
but yeah, as it relates to like the actual institution, I think D&E has so much to offer, bro. So much to offer. I think it was a good move getting someone like me in there, who's been other places.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. I think it was time that they brought in someone younger that could get on the same page with the students, be chill with the students, have an understanding of them, and then still be able to go back to the higher ups and voice, be that liaison in between.
Absolutely, and then also just like to bring like what other schools are doing back to D&E and best practices, because
Yeah,
I think D&E has like huge upside, especially in their student affairs area, bro, of like what they can like bring to their students, just like understanding like what other people are doing, what do students now like, you know, and
definitely. And I think you did a great job really bringing the activities of like what students liked seeing because in the past it was just events put on
yeah,
and not a lot of like outcome, like great outcome when it came to the people that came. And then the interest wasn't all there. But you found a great way to incorporate like what the students liked versus or and like, what worked.
no, I appreciate that, bro, and like I said, like trial and error, bro, grooming. I understand what you all like, and obviously I'm not too far attached, so I get it.
Yeah, definitely. If you could go back to D&E, like go back to when we were there together and change anything, is there anything you would change?
I would have found those like key students like off jump that weren't involved in student government like off jump and like kind of like tailored to their type of events. Like I would have found like Thaddeus Breckenridge and did like a spoken word, got him started a spoken word club or something off jump.
Right.
Because he has this like small faction. Like you, obviously, like we would have did something together. Maybe like a disco night or something.
There we go. Something like that.
Something like that tailored to those key players that like were big in like different factions. It obviously like me being new there, I didn't like meet you guys, so like you guys came in August, so program is already basically done. You know.
Right.
So just like doing that more, and then also empowering those key players. Like, hey, yo, like if you want to do this, I'm down. I support. Here's I got some budget. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And I started finding that at the end. Towards the last semester. But like, there was a lot of like students like you who were already empowered naturally, bro. He was like, "Bro, I'm trying to have fun senior year."
Yeah, definitely. I mean, go about the smart, easy way. And I think especially like my junior year, it was in between smart and easy.
Yeah.
But then senior year, I'd take a step back and like, okay, we can continue doing all that we did, just do it smarter.
Absolutely.
Without getting in trouble,
Absolutely, bro. And like I said, I think you were super like beneficial and helpful to the culture of like what was happening at the university at the time.
Yeah, I mean, D&E has such a diverse community. And then when you said a second ago, like identifying those key players earlier in the game would have been great, but I think it's so awesome. It has so much to offer with how many different types of people are at D&E. And, I would say that D&E isn't for everybody. And, we begin to, or, have seen that over time.
Yeah.
But I think if you find one thing that really sticks to you at D&E, then that's all you need to continue to go there.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. And I feel like too, like you find that one thing, you can find other people who are interested in it as well. The most unique thing I ever saw was the Augusta Heritage Center. Like that was great to me. Like how you all like embraced art like that. And you guys had dancers and stuff like that. So I thought that was super cool. But yeah, just like a lot of amazing students. Like like Richard Davey was up there with me, and me and him. We had our relationship. Richard Davey, John Barrett relationship. But yeah, super great student. Becca, she ran like our campus activities board, and she did a lot of it by herself. And obviously Matt Finn. So Gabby, like so met Calvin, a lot of good students, and I don't want to miss anyone, so I'm gonna stop naming names. But
okay,
but yeah, bro, like a lot of good students. I wish I would have like been able to like kind of like cultivate their gifts and like kind of like form like stuff around them.
Right. Yeah, I wish we could have been there longer together. Like you came in like junior, sophomore year.
Yeah, bro,
that would have been great.
No, absolutely, man.
Really would have grown.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Well, now we're going to get into the stuff that I've been dying to talk to you about.
Let's do it, bro.
I've been seeing this stuff on Instagram when I've been on Instagram on and off, seeing it on your Snapchat story. You have a podcast coming out soon. You want to spill a little bit about that, all that you can?
Yeah, bro, it's going to be lit. So my Instagram name is JB the Masses, right? And the premise for my Instagram is like, I don't know, I just like kind of like JB the Massive, we like work out or something. But also like the mass is like a large demographic of people, bro. So, trying to come up with names, talking to people. So the podcast is going to actually be named For the Masses Podcast. All right. And
God, that's such a good name.
Bro, I appreciate it, bro. I appreciate it, man. I was
so smart.
I was torn over the name for like a couple weeks, bro. And so yeah, blessed to be able to get the name, man. We got some graphics out, so we'll be covering things: leadership, faith, self-development, growth, finance, relationships. And I don't know what's gonna come from it in the sense of like what direction, like you said, like the niche we're gonna go in. But super excited. I think the biggest thing for me, like incentives to start a podcast, was obviously like you were doing it, right? I was like, Chris Carter doing it. I gotta do it. I gotta get in the game, right? Barrier to entry, like it's really easy to get a podcast started, but I feel like there's a lot of growth too. There's a guy, Pat Flynn. He was like, there's like podcasts just hit 1 million. Podcasts. And then we look at like YouTubers, and there's like 10 million YouTubers. So like we got like a lot of growth. I meet people every day who don't have a podcast, bro, who don't listen to podcasts.
Right. It's crazy to me. I mean, I spend majority of my day at work listening to podcasts.
Exactly right.
But I mean, podcasts are on the come up, man. I'm telling you. I mean, when I got my first iPhone, up until probably like the iPhone 6 on the podcast app, I would just automatically delete it. Like, I
Yeah.
don't need that on my phone. And then looking back, I'm like, dang, like I missed out on so many good podcasts, good episodes where I now go back through and re-listen to. But yeah, you're right. I think it is super easy to enter the podcast realm. I mean, you buy a mic. Actually, you don't even need a mic. Like,
Yeah.
Anchor makes it so incredibly easy to get your podcast going. You can record it right from your phone.
Right from your phone.
I think what the harder part is, like, easy to enter. I think harder to stay consistent with it.
I agree, and like have that niche, and like me and you talked earlier about this, but just like having like a clip of like episodes ready to go, so you can have that momentum, and you're not in that like creative like loop of like what am I going to create, especially if you have a niche. Like if you're doing something like dental hygiene, like
oh yeah, you can bank episodes for days.
bank episodes there, and you can do like batch recording there. Just sit down on a Saturday and like get all your thoughts out. Do massive editing, and then you can do like that. Well, obviously, like your podcast is based off current events, so it'll be a little bit harder to do that, but it can be done.
Yeah, I think definitely over time it will continue to evolve into something where I can begin to bank episodes or do batch recording, batch editing. Do you have any goals for the podcast? Anything that you're wanting to get out of it?
Well, yeah. So like my thing is like I always fell in love with like how like musicians and artists like they would create something and they were able to like name it after something they like, right? So like a rapper would make a song and he would name it Mona Lisa because he thinks she likes the baddest chick ever. Like
Right.
that's so attractive to
Shout
me,
out
bro.
Big Sean.
Shout out Big Sean, bro. And like that's like the dopest thing ever for me. So like just like I was always attracted to like people like creating. Even when I was younger, man, just like even when I made my highlight tape for wrestling, and iMovie, Windows Maker or something like that on like my old Dell, I was like super like creative when that product was finished. I was like, this is dope, adding my favorite song, like that's like my touch to it. So I just in love with like having a place to collectively place my thoughts. People are asking me about my thoughts on a consistent basis, so I was like, why not?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, great way to get going with it. And one thing I've continued to tell people, like everybody can talk about starting a podcast, but I think the hardest part, in my opinion, is actually like sitting down and doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like there's a huge difference between the talk and like the do,
Absolutely, man, and that's what me like, and you kind of inspired me when you dropped yours because like I've been talking about doing a podcast for a few months now, and I was like I still haven't done it. Like I said, Anchor makes it super easy, but obviously like we get into our heads about like the production aspect of it. That favorite podcast we heard that has like editors, videographers, stuff like that.
I could talk about that for days, to be honest with you.
But
you got to start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere, man, and so like I'm super excited, just to like interview these people that I want to talk to, Renee, and just like get what they have to say about certain topics, and like put my flair on it, like naming an episode. My first episode was called Rebate because we talk about a rebate forum on episode 1 of the For the Masses podcast. So that's exciting to me.
That's awesome. And then are you recording it in your apartment right now?
I'm recording.
Or like, is that where?
Yep. Sit right here, bro, or sometimes sit over there if I'm doing on Anchor, bro, and we just make it happen, bro.
That's awesome. Do you have multiple mics or just one right now?
So yeah, right now I got this one, bro. So I was listening to a podcast about how to make a podcast.
That's like, see, like you can make a podcast about anything,
bro. Man. And that dude's probably killing it. But he was like, "Oh yeah, like so." I watched the podcast, and this guy said this. He said, "I listened to a podcast about how to make a podcast," and he said, "Just get this kit off of Amazon." And it was like a $35 Amazon kit with like the whole rig. So I just thought that was like super dope. I was like, they really make it easy at this point. Like, there's no reason not to, So a little bit of aptitude, you can figure it out. So yeah, bro. So For the Masses podcast, like I said, like a specific niche, I don't really know. I don't know if people like, do they want to hear one-offs from me? If they want interviews from me, or both. I don't really know as it relates to like goals. I just want to be consistent, man. I just want to be consistent and drop like stuff like what's on my heart, what's on my mind, soul. And just have these conversations, bro.
Yeah, definitely. And I think another thing that like I kind of like faced at the beginning, where I was so set on episodes needing to be an hour long,
Yeah.
to where it puts pressure on myself. Like, okay, I got to think of something to talk about for an hour straight. But then you kind of think about it, like, it doesn't have to be an hour long. Like, I've listened to podcasts that are 10, 15 minutes long once a week. So you can really like make it however you want it.
No, absolutely, bro. And my buddy Jamie Kane told me that he has a podcast called Liberty Uninterrupted, and it's a libertarian-based podcast. But he had another podcast prior to where it called The Everyday Edge, where he just basically talked about compounding your efforts over every day to get better, in that self-development area. But obviously that was a slow burn for him. He learned a lot from that one, and he transferred it to this political one. And like I said, like, he's blowing up. So he really told me that, like, you gotta start bad, right? Get a few episodes together, and it's like you'll get better. I was really frustrated with my first interview because I feel like I was reading off a script, bro, and I just felt so robotic as opposed to like just sitting down, turn the camera on, have these conversations.
Right. Yeah, it's tough. It definitely takes time, and I mean, I face the same things as well. Like, I've been on and off with writing a script for an episode, and then I'll record it. And I'm like, I sound like I recorded it word for word, or like right off the page. Yeah. And then other things are more like extemporaneous, like right on the spot. But I found it easy to kind of just form a rough draft around the ideas, and then just naturally flow into them.
No, absolutely. Do you feel weird like talking to the mic by yourself?
Not too bad. I mean, I've always like felt super comfortable. Like, I can sit down and I can just like record a video for Snapchat and then just like publish it to my story and just like be comfortable about it. So I've always been somewhat, confident like that. And then at first it was a little tough to do. But over time, like, just this most recent episode I put out, like, I knocked it out in like 30 minutes. I sat down. It was like 2 a.m. I had a flight at 3:30 in the morning. Yeah. So I had to bang it out. But
that's lit.
I feel like, yeah, because
that's fire.
I made the mistake last week where, I talked about it. I just messed up on the tracks. I goofed 2 episodes in a row. And that happens. Like, if something doesn't go wrong with the podcast, like, did you make a podcast?
Absolutely, bro.
But yeah, at first it is a little weird. And then it's even weirder going back through and listening to it.
Yeah.
But honestly, I kind of enjoy that. Like, I find a spot in my day where I can sit down and like pre-listen to my episode before I publish it. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy because like I can follow along with it in my head and then just like point out things that like I say in the episode, or if I know a certain topic's coming up, like I'll be excited, like, yo, I'm stoked to hear about what I'm going to say about this. But I think it comes in time.
No, absolutely, bro. And I feel like, especially with that, like, because your last episode, you sat down and you just like did an episode by yourself, man. And that's impressive to me because like a lot of people can't do that, but it didn't seem forced. It just seemed like you were like kind of like a news anchor, bro. And you were just coming out and giving your opinion on everything, adding your own flavor to it, bro. So like, I think it was awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate you listening. When I recorded an episode with Tyler Reed a while back, I think like the first line of the podcast that I had clipped into it, we struggled to get it started.
Yeah.
And he said, he's like, you know what? This is so much harder than what people think. Like, all you have to do is just sit down and talk in front of a mic and camera. But like, it seems much more challenging than sitting down and talking in front of a mic and camera.
It's so true, bro. It's so true. It's not easy at all, man. So like, I'm looking forward to like learning the craft, bro. Like, I want to be like the jaggest, shreddiest like podcast host on the planet. Like, that's kind of like,
there we go. That could be your niche right there.
That's my niche, bro. That just happened just now.
There we go. You gotta think through. You gotta think through the stuff, and then it naturally comes to you. Which I'm kind of doing that right now. I'm trying to naturally flow into a specific niche. Trying not to rush into it, because what I've really aimed for is like slow, steady growth.
Yeah.
I'm not looking to bang out a podcast and then wake up with 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 listens. Like, that's so. It's not possible, to be honest. It's possible, but like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Unless you,
it's unrealistic.
I get that. Unless you're coming from another platform,
Right.
So no, I get that, bro. And like I said, I think you're on the right path, bro. Like I said, like I'm listening to yours. I was entertained by it, And I
appreciate
that.
And
I like podcasts, bro, but I dislike podcasts where people are just like talking to junk, bro, just sitting there like random stuff. I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it.
Yeah. I'm definitely with you on that one. And I think it's more interesting, like hearing, because I have other friends that do podcasts and like sitting down and listening to what they have to say. And I noticed this with a friend of mine. I hadn't seen him in a few months, and last time I saw him, he's like, "Oh yeah, dude, I heard you did this, this, and that," and like I hadn't told him, but he's just kept up with the podcast.
Yeah, bro.
Which like it's great to keep like my friends in the loop still.
And that's attractive to me. Like when you have like super fans, you know, you're building your tribe. You know, so it's kind of like that's where you're going, bro.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, man, I'm stoked for you to come out with the podcast. You need any help with it, you know how to reach me, man. I'm more than happy to help out.
Hey, I appreciate it, bro. You already know I'm like, I'm already like trying to get the tech aspect of things together.
Yeah, definitely. Now I have two more things I want to talk about.
Let's get it.
So I'm saving the best for the last.
Let's get it.
But the next thing that I would like to talk about is a lot of people say this, and I'm definitely behind them on this. I couldn't agree with them anymore. People say that you kind of have your own vernacular, your own lingo.
Hey.
You know, you're coining terms out here. Why do you have any like specific examples of that, like for the people listening that don't know JB? But because I know the people that know JB right now, they're sitting thinking in their head, like going through all the captions that you post, you know?
That's so wild, bro. Because I didn't read that question in the notes, right? So I didn't understand what you meant. But it's so wild because like no one really knows where I'm from. I don't really sound like I'm from a specific region or anything like that, bro. But so I was born in New York, lived in New York for 9 years. But I don't have that northern like rough accent where people are like, "Hey, man," or anything like that. So
right.
And then I grew up in Southside Richmond, Virginia, which is not south, so like southern, but there are southern people there. So like, I grew up in inner city there, so it was like, where are you from, you know? And then I lived in West Virginia for 6 years. So I really don't know where I get my lingo from besides pop culture, bro. Like, you know, I'm a gym bro, all right? Like super like into my like faith, right? And I think like super into like rap music and like things like that, like pop culture. So I just listen to all that stuff and I use everything. I consider myself like a Midwesterner, bro. Like I feel like, I don't know, bro. I just like, and I realize now that when I talk to people, I use so much slang that no one knows what I'm talking about. Like,
yeah, I could see that.
Bro, I was talking to someone yesterday and I was like, yeah, you trying to get some, like, we'll get up and talk chickens. And they're like, what do you mean talk chickens, bro? Yeah, bro, that, and I'd be like, man, that's a vibe. And like, you know, just like, it just depends on what I'm listening to. It's lit.
Bless up.
100% bless up, bro. So yeah, bro, and that's something I take pride in, like just being myself, bro. You know, wherever I go.
Yeah, and that's awesome. I mean, people follow behind it. You got other people saying it. It's cool to see.
That's so funny, bro. I'm just realizing this. That's why I'm so like, oh my god, that's so funny.
Yeah, I mean, I think in my opinion, that, you know, living in, you know, close to the DMV area as well, like you pick up a ton of lingo up that way as well. So I think that adds to it. I mean, to be honest, I love the DMV lingo.
Yeah, bro.
If I could just like transform my entire vocabulary to like how they talk up there, bro, I would 100%.
That's hella funny because like you'll be like my guy, what's up, my guy? You know, stuff like that. Yeah, bro. That's hella funny, bro. But
yeah, it's cool to kind of see that mix between all those different locations where you've lived.
Bro, absolutely. And I take pride in like also just like knowing people from those different areas, man, and like kind of like taking what I see from them and I just like mimic it. And I don't know why, it's like innate for me, man. I don't know what it is, but I just do it, man. I'm ready to start saying crazy or like nutty or something. I'm like, that's my new word.
Yeah, really. You could just do ad libs for some music, which leads me into JB, the final topic.
Let's get it.
We're going to talk a little bit about music. You've been hyping it up. You've been putting some clout on it for some time now since we left D&E last May or May 2020. You've been in talks about a mixtape. JB, tell me about this mixtape. Tell me, you know, what sparked the idea, the progress, you know, things that you've been doing with it.
Yeah, bro. So like, bless the streets. Hold on,
Are we getting a sample?
We're not right now.
Okay.
But
I was about to say, like, an exclusive on Just Chris podcast.
That would be fire. But hey, Chris Carter, you know, I got to get something for you. So I will tell you what, like, my song is gonna be called. I'll tell you that. All right.
Yeah, just give me a little sneak peek.
So the mixtape
Let's
is
hear it.
Bust the Streets. Bust the Streets 1. That's the mixtape, right? And then the actual song I'm coming out with, my first single, is gonna be called like Messy Bun and Sage. You know, and the premise behind that is like, you know, it's a young lady with a messy bun and she burns sage because like all these other dudes are like toxic. You know, and that's
Ooh,
deep, right? That's real. You know, and Chris Carter,
dang.
that's yeah, and Chris Carter, I know you're a man of quality, so I know you appreciate a good messy bun.
I do. To be honest, messy buns, some sweatpants. Don't get me started.
That's a vibe, right? But yeah, so honestly, bro, I was like, it was kind of like the podcasting idea. I just was like always attracted to like that whole idea of like creating it and like putting your own personal touch on it. So I was like, bro, like I can do this. But as you can see, like the technical aspect of things, you know, trying to figure it out and like you know, my goal is to definitely drop something for the end of the year. I just gotta sit down and do it, you know. But the podcast kind of
Right. It just starting up.
we're gonna do it, man. So like I'm looking forward to it, bro. But I'm glad
That's
I'm
awesome.
glad you're tapped into it.
Dude, I've been following it since day one. I mean, I've talked to other people. Jakia and I talk about it quite a bit. We'll send the snaps back and forth like, JB, when you drop in the mixtape?
That's hella funny. Shout out to Jakia. Shout out to Jakia.
There we go. Shout out Jakia. She's actually one of the podcast supporters as well.
I
Shout
heard.
her out last episode. Now, one thing I have noticed, a lot of producers, you know, they get their stuff or they get a start from hearing other people, or like similar flows or similar styles. Would you say that you mimic any specific person or any specific rapper, creator?
Yeah, I would say all of like the like modern day ones, like all the ones who like sing and use autotune, bro. So like, I mean, obviously like Drake, because everyone sings their own chorus now, right? And like Hook, Drake, I like Dirk. I listen to like trap stuff. Chris Carter, like so like Drake, Dirk, like Polo G, like all those like new guys who sing, Lil Yachty, like Uzi, like all those type of guys, man. And because obviously like rapping is a skill, and those people who really
Right.
rap, like they're like either like very very talented and cultivated, or like just like years and years. So I try to like stay in my lane and like, you know, make some of my melodies.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna give you a little podcast exclusive here. Me and my sister's boyfriend Colby, who stays with us probably like 5-6 nights a week at the house because he lives close or he works close by. We sat down one night or a few nights in a row and tried to cook it up on Ableton. And you know, we got some samples online. I tried to do what I could, and then I tried to get on the beat, and it's so hard, JB. I'm gonna tell you, it's so hard. And then Colby gets on and he just spits it and kills it.
It's
Finding the flow is tough.
it's hard, bro. Cause and then you gotta find your tempo too. Like you gotta find like the tempo that's like good for your flow. You know.
Mhm.
So like you gotta like take your favorite artist like and then like type them like on YouTube like Drake type beats or like, you know, like little Uzi type beats, you know, and they'll have like similar tempos. So then you can find your beat like that, bro.
Yeah, I mean, at one point we were literally on YouTube. And I just typed in Jason Aldean type beat just to see what we could get, because like we really tried to mix it up with the different type of genres, testing it out. And country music we were flowing with, and then rap music definitely. I could not get it done. I feel like my style when it came to the rap part, it was like the screamo white kid thing, and that just kind of worked. It kind of worked. Like we wrote down some lyrics, and then Colby spit it in his flow, and then I tried his flow. I was like, this isn't working.
Yeah.
So I just like naturally went to the screaming white kid stuff, and it didn't sound too bad after autotune and all that.
But
so
autotune saves the day, bro.
maybe we'll drop a single when you drop the mixtape.
Bro, I'll hop on a track or I'll put you on a track, bro.
There we go. Don't tempt me.
Bro, I'm serious. Like, and the thing too is like, you could look like some like MGK type stuff, bro. He made it, but he can rap. I'm not trying.
He can rap. That's definitely not me. I'm an accountant, bro. Like
that's hella funny. But yeah, bro.
That's funny. Dude, before we conclude the call, I wish we didn't have to end it. I wish we could probably talk for a few more hours, but I got to eat dinner still.
No, same, bro.
Do you have anything you want to plug? Any socials, things to look out for? You know, once we conclude, definitely send me over some of the links to your stuff, and I'll plug it in the description. But what do you have?
Absolutely, bro. So yeah, so my Instagram handle at JB the Masses. That's my Twitter. That's my Snapchat as well. JBTHE Masses, MASSES. And then the podcast page on Instagram is for the masses. FORTHEMASSES, bro. But yeah, bro, I'm super excited. We should be having the first episode really, really, really soon. So I'm super excited, bro.
Dude, I'm stoked for you. Again, let me know if you need any help, and then I'm gonna get you back on the podcast soon. You know, once you get flown with your podcast, we're gonna bring you back over, kind of talk about your progress, anything you've been flowing with that.
Absolutely, bro. You know we're gonna get you on the For the Masses podcast, bro.
There we go, dude. Now we're talking. Now we're talking business, JB.
We might even post this one.
Maybe. You never know.
That's gonna be a vibe, bro. So
yes, sir.
It'll be lit.
But again, JB, thanks for coming on. I appreciate you taking the time out this evening. Had a great time, and I'm looking forward to getting this one out to the people.
Hey, absolutely, bro. Hey, have a blessed night, all right? And we'll talk chickens.
Sounds good. All right, JB, take it easy. And it is just like that, folks. I appreciate everyone tuning in and listening to this week's episode of the podcast. I had a great time sitting down with JB, talking about a wide range of topics. I wish we could have talked for longer, to be honest with you. But you know, that's all we got for this week's episode. I'm looking forward to episode 27, so keep an eye out for it. If you haven't already, and I hit on at the beginning of the episode, I'm going to hit on at the end of the episode. Like, comment, subscribe, check out the YouTube channel, rate and review the podcast on Spotify and iTunes, Google Podcasts. I'm everywhere where you consume podcasts, and if I'm not, reach out to me, and I will make it happen. But in the meantime, any questions, comments, anything you want to share with the podcast, reach out to me at justchrispodcast@gmail.com. Again, shout out to all of the podcast supporters. I love you guys. The link is in the description below, so check that out. And I will see all of you, talk to all of you next week.